You obviously have filters that you apply on selecting people as you do on stocks. Can you tell us a little bit about what those filters are?
Filters on people?
Yes, in selecting, you have an ability to motivate people who have a lot of money to keep working. What do you look for to figure out who those people are?
Well, that is a key question, because when we buy businesses, we don't have managers to put in them. I mean, we're not buying them that way. We don't have a lot of MBAs around the office that we're.
Thank God.
Yeah. So, as a practical matter, we need management with the businesses that we buy, and 3 times out of 4 or thereabouts, the manager is the owner and is receiving tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars. So they don't have to work. And we have to decide in that time when we meet them whether they love the business or love money. And we're not making a moral judgment. Charlie may, but I'm not making a moral judgment about whether it's better to love the business or love money, but it's very important for me to know which of the two is the primary motivator with them. And we have had extremely good luck in identifying people who love their business. And so all we have to do is avoid anything that diminishes that love of the business or makes other conditions so intolerable that they overcome that love of the business. And we have a number of people working for us that have no financial need to work at all, and they probably outwork 95% or more of the people in the world, and they do it because they love smacking the ball. And we virtually had no mistakes in that respect. And we have identified a number of people, Charlie and I have, in terms of proposals to us, where we felt that they liked the money better than the business. They were kind of tired of the business, and they might promise us that they would continue on and they would do it in good faith, but something would happen 6 months later or a year later, and they'd say to themselves, "Why am I doing this, for Berkshire Hathaway when I could be doing whatever else they want to do?"
Well, yeah, I think it's pretty simple. You've got integrity, intelligence, and experience, and dedication, and that's what human enterprises need to run well. And we've been very lucky in getting this marvelous group of associates to work with all these years.
Hey there, Lincoln here from boacademy.org. Today I want to talk to you about IPOB Opendoor and their powerhouse of a management team. So if you're an investor, you've probably heard of Warren Buffett and his partner Charlie Munger. When making investments, when making big purchases of companies, their philosophy is we're going to pick great companies with great management and let them do what they've been doing, and we'll just allocate the funds to help them continue to grow. So when we're investing as retail investors, we also want to follow a similar philosophy. We want to pick great companies with great management and let them do what they've been doing that got them to where they are today. But we also want to make sure that we understand these managers and where they're coming from so that we can have the utmost conviction behind them, which will allow us to make the investment in the company and continue to invest in the company for the long term. In past videos, we looked through IPOB Opendoor and how they're going to get to profitability through all of the vertical integration and centralization of their home flipping business, as well as other services, value-added services that they can provide their customers. So now I want to walk you through the management team that has gotten the company this far to over $4.7 billion in sales in 2019, with nearly 19,000 homes sold, and a path to $10 billion in revenues and $539 million in contribution profits by 2023. So this team clearly knows what they're doing. So as an investor who's invested over $17,000 to this company, I'm very curious of the makeup of this team. Who's in it? What is their role? What do they do in the past? Are they interested in this industry, or are they just looking for money? How long they've been with the company, and how long can we see them staying with the company in the near term and in the long term? Knowing all of this would tell us whether or not each of these team members, these management team members, are a good fit for the company and for our investment. Because we're invested in the people that run the company. The company can't get to its goals cannot reach profitability without these people making it happen every single day. So in this video, we're going to quickly walk through the chief management team. That's the CEO, the CTO, the CFO, and so on. Who's in it, where they're coming from, and what they bring to the table. But before we get to that, I want to ask you a quick favor. If you enjoyed the video, like the video below, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and comment your thoughts below on IPOB, the SPAC taking Opendoor public this week, which means that Opendoor will be trading on the New York Stock Exchange on Monday, the 21st of December, 2020. So let me know what your thoughts are, if you're investing, how many shares you have, and so on. And if you would like to help the channel grow and reach more investors and get more access to me and direct answers to your investing questions, then join us over at patreon.boacademy.org. You'll be able to engage in our Discord channel where we share knowledge and resources to help one another grow our wealth together. And you will have a chance at winning $200 every month just for being a loyal and engaged patron. So if you're interested in all of that, I hope to see you over at patreon.boacademy.org. Now let's hop in. Before we look at Opendoor's team, let's just read a quick quote from Warren Buffett. And that will be from this article called Warren Buffett on Managing People. And Warren Buffett in this article says that the important thing we do with managers generally is to find the 400 hitters and then not tell them how to swing. The second thing we do is allocate capital. So that's all they do. That's all Berkshire Hathaway does. They find great management and then they let them do what they do and just give them the money that they need to continue to do that. Now let's look at Opendoor's team. As I alluded to, Opendoor's team is stacked with people from all of the companies that you have probably heard of, and they come from high places in those companies. Eric Wu, the co-founder and CEO, he was the head of product at Trulia. Trulia was acquired by Zillow in 2015. At Trulia, he was the head of geo-social products. And a couple years before Trulia, he was the co-founder of rentadvisor.com, which is an apartment search that specializes in lead generation. The founding team includes the founders of apartmentguide.com, rentals.com, and realestate.com. They raised over $10 million and had over 4,000 paying customers. And before that, Eric was the founder of Real Estate Fund, which was a personal investment fund that purchased investment properties near college campuses, and the portfolio had over 100 units. After RentAdvisor and before Trulia, he founded Movidity.com. And back in 2009, Movidity.com aggregated and analyzed geodata, and they compiled the nation's largest database of crime and worked with other data sets, including noise, commuting times, school boundaries, and home prices. The founding team was from Statement Design, Expedia, and Bing. And in 2011, they were acquired by Trulia.com. And it turns out that's how he got to Trulia. So he kept going on in this real estate world, and then eventually came up with the idea of Opendoor.com. So now he's a CEO and his company is going public. So obviously he has great interest in the real estate land. That seems to be what he enjoys doing. And he obviously has great expertise in this space. Next up is Ian Wong. He's the co-founder and CTO. And before Opendoor, he was the head of data science at Square, which I'm sure you all know. Ian Wong has obviously done very well for his very young career, starting at Square back in 2011, and then he went to Prismatic. And at Prismatic, he spent his time building analytics infrastructure. That's something that is important to his core competency that he brings to Opendoor. And now at Opendoor in 2014, a year after joining Prismatic, he became the CTO and co-founder of Opendoor.com. And he says that Opendoor is modernizing the real estate transaction. And now Ian is taking the company he helped get to this point to the public markets. So obviously, again, he has expertise in his role. He's done very well, and he's been a big reason for how Opendoor got to this point and how it's going to get to its next point. Next up is Andrew Low Ah Kee, and he is the president of Opendoor. Before Opendoor, he was the chief operating officer at GoDaddy. And GoDaddy, I'm sure you all know, again, you can buy domains, build websites, and so many other things on GoDaddy.com. So let's not belabor that too much. Andrew Low has a very impressive past. He started off his career as a consultant at the Boston Consulting Group in 2002, and then he went on to become the interim CFO of another company. And from there, he went on to be an associate at the Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, which is very impressive. He was helping to manage people's pension plan investments. And from there, he went on to become director of KKR Capstone, which apparently is a leading global investment firm. And this investment firm worked with their portfolio companies to accelerate growth. So it looks like Andrew has great experience in accelerating growth, which is going to be great for Opendoor. And he spent about 7 years as a director of KKR Capstone. After that, he went on to GoDaddy, where he spent almost 7 years as well. And he started off at GoDaddy as the Senior Vice President of Finance and Growth. And there his role was to run operational finance, business unit finance, analytics, business ops, mergers and acquisition integration, so integrating new companies that GoDaddy acquired, and to drive many of GoDaddy's growth initiatives. And GoDaddy has come a very long way since 2014. And from there, Andrew went on to become the Executive Vice President of GoDaddy's international business, where he was focused on driving customer growth and market expansion outside of the USA. Next, at GoDaddy, Andrew went on to become the Chief Revenue Officer, where his team that he led was focused on driving in-year business performance and enabling future growth through brand and market expansion. He spent 2 years doing that, and from there he was promoted to Chief Operating Officer, where he was responsible for worldwide commercial and customer engagement strategy and operations. And they were focused on delivering exceptional customer experience and engagement that turned into great business outcomes. The Chief Operating Officer pretty much touches everything in the company, and he was the head of that. And then after 6 years of working at GoDaddy and leading many teams that helped GoDaddy become what it is today, Andrew moved on in November of 2020, just last month, to become the president of Opendoor.com. So I feel pretty confident in Andrew as a president of Opendoor and his ability to help this team get to their next milestone, which, as we covered in a previous video, is $10 billion in revenues by 2023 and $539 million in contribution profits. Next up, we have Megan Toolson. Megan is the head of operations at Opendoor, and she comes from Bain Capital. In 2008, Megan was a business analyst at McKinsey & Company, which is a consultant company, one of the most prestigious of them all. And then she went on to Bain Capital, another prestigious consultant company. And from there, she went on to become a content acquisition intern, which appears to be a career change at Hulu. And she started her career as a content professional at Vessel a year later. And somehow she ended up as the head of operations at Opendoor in 2015. I'm not quite sure how she made that big jump, but Opendoor was a startup at that time. So it makes sense that she was able to make that jump from switching her career to a whole new field, from being a consultant to a content professional, and then somehow getting to become the head of operations. And again, I think that makes sense because Opendoor is a startup, and this is how startups work. They look for someone who can do the job, and when they get there, if they can do it well, then they keep promoting them internally. And eventually they become the head of that vertical. So it looks like to me, from my experience with startups, that Megan got there early and worked her way up. But that progression is not represented on her LinkedIn page. So we're not sure, but obviously she's been doing all right because Opendoor is going public, and she's had a role in that for nearly 6 years now. Next up is Daniel Morillo, Chief Investment Officer, probably one of the most important roles on this chief executive team. Before Opendoor, he was the managing director of Citadel. So let's look at Daniel. Daniel started off as a senior research manager in 2000 and then went on to BlackRock Capital, a very prestigious investment firm, and he was the managing director and head of global equities in 2004. And from there, he went on to become the managing director of iShares Investment Research, where he was responsible for global research activities and agenda, including asset allocation, modeling, and investment consulting. This is very important because this is part of his job at Opendoor. He is the chief investment officer. So he needs this skill that he mastered at BlackRock, modeling investment opportunities and then allocating assets. And from there, 3 years later, he was the managing director and head of research and co-head of BlackRock's model portfolio and solutions business, which included research and portfolio management of the team's funds and models, as well as the team's investment consulting business. So this is very relevant to his role at Opendoor today. And he kept doing the same thing when he moved on to Encapture Investments as the managing director and head of research and head of security selection business. And Daniel's most recent job was the managing director and head of quantitative research at Citadel, where he led a team of 70 plus research personnel across the firm's risk, factor, and alpha modeling efforts. Again, all of this is very relevant to his job as the chief investment officer at Opendoor. Next up is Carrie Wheeler, the chief financial officer of Opendoor, and before this, she was a partner at TPG. So this is Carrie's LinkedIn. She was an analyst at Goldman Sachs for the M&A and principal investment area. And that was in 1993, the year I was born. And she was there for 3 years. And then she went on to Neiman Marcus as a board member and member of the audit committee. And then she went on to Petco as a board member and chair of audit committee. And then TPG Capital, she was a partner and head of retail and consumer investing. And then she kept going. She was a board member of J.Crew, again on the audit committee. And then she was a board member of Dollar Tree in 2019. And she's been a board member of Opendoor since 2019. And in September of 2020, she moved on to become the chief financial officer of the company, stepping down from her board membership. So Carrie's had a very storied career, but she's been in high places for a very long time since the start of her career. Carrie's ended up at Opendoor, and I feel pretty good about her past as the chief financial officer, and she spent a good part of her career on financial audit committees. So I'm sure she has the experience necessary to help Opendoor reach their goals of profitability while making sure to adequately report to shareholders the necessary financial data that we have to know to continue to be convicted in the company. And last up, but definitely not least, the Chief Product Officer, Tom Willerer. And before Opendoor, he was the Vice President of Product at Netflix. He has also another very storied past in his career, very impressive career. He was a director of Starcom in 2000 to 2007, and Starcom was apparently is a human experience company, and they believe that the alchemy of people and technology creates experiences people love and actions brands need. So a marketing company that specializes in human experience. So at Starcom, Tom managed a team of 10 analysts across 10 clients, including United Airlines, ESPN, Kellogg's, BlackBerry, and Miller. And he co-authored First of a Kind study on the internet advertising clickers, which sought to understand the question, who clicks online ads? So this part is very relevant to his job at Opendoor because product people want to know what drives people to take action and how they can create the best experiences for customers and users to continue to come back and trust the companies that they work with. And that's what he did at Starcom. Then he went on to keep doing that at Netflix. In 2007, he was the VP of Product Management, where he managed a global team responsible for innovation around social, non-member acquisition. His prior roles at Netflix included Director of Product and Director of Consumer Insights. Wow. Okay, so Tom's that guy. Tom knows what he's doing when it comes to product. I'm very impressed by his role at Netflix and at Starcom. I think these are very important roles for what he's now going to be doing at Opendoor. And from there, he went on to become the director of product management at Facebook. So he didn't spend too long at Facebook, he only spent a few months. But then he moved on to Coursera because apparently that was a better fit for him. And he was the chief product officer of Coursera, a leading online education platform, where he was responsible for product management, engineering, design, analytics, community, and operations. So all of these teams, all of these verticals led up to him. They reported to him. And Coursera, founded in 2012, is doing over $100 million in revenues and is today valued at $2.5 billion. Tom joined this team a year after it was founded. So a great deal of Coursera's success can be attributed to Tom, who is now the Chief Product Officer at Opendoor, which if you're watching this video, you're probably invested in or are interested in becoming an investor in. So all of Tom's experience should be music to your ears. He's the right guy to be on Opendoor in this current stage of their lifespan. He's helped so many teams grow their product to what we know them to be today. He moved on, to be a partner at Venrock, where he invested in Make School, which is a prominent online education program that tries to replace college for computer science majors. And as an investor in Make School, he became a board member. And now he's at Opendoor, where I have full confidence in his ability to help this team reach its near-term goals, as well as its long-term goals of $20 billion in revenues and $50 billion in revenues with 7% contribution profit margins. And that's the executive team. And under them, they have even more power hitters. So that's the team. The team is clearly very experienced, and they all have very relevant backgrounds in roles that relate directly to what they're doing today and what they're going to have to continue to do to get Opendoor to where it needs to be to drive shareholder value. So I have confidence in this team. I like all of their experiences. They all make sense in the roles that they have today based on what they've done in the past with their very impressive careers. And it doesn't seem that a CEO and co-founder, Eric Wu, would like to be doing anything else. He's been in real estate for a long time. One of his first startups was acquired by Trulia, which is now owned by Zillow. And now he's taken on Zillow and Redfin, and he's crushing them. Both of their revenues from 2019 doesn't even come close combined to what Opendoor did in 2019. So I don't see Eric leaving Opendoor to go work somewhere else because of what he's been doing in the past. I think he's here to stay. He believes in what he's doing, and it seems like he's in the best place for him. So after looking deeper into this team, I've become even more convicted in this company, in this investment. I've invested over $17,000 into this company, IPOB, the SPAC taking Opendoor public this week, and I have over 1,000 shares that I plan to hold for the long term as I continue to practice the bull mentality. The bull mentality is that we know what we invest in. We understand what we invest in. We believe in what we invest in, and we hold for the long term because that's how we build wealth in this country. That's how we give ourselves the best chance of success on the stock market. So now you know who your management team is if you're an investor in Opendoor. And I hope this video has given you more confidence in the company. So if you enjoyed it, like the video below, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and comment your thoughts below on Opendoor and their management team, whether or not you're invested and how many shares you have, and whether you plan to hold it for the long term. Do you believe in this team? Do you like their backgrounds, and do you think they're a good fit for their current roles? Comment below, let's discuss it. And finally, if you want to help the channel grow and reach more investors and get more access to me and get direct answers to your investing questions, then join us over at patreon.boacademy.org. You'll be able to engage in our Discord channel where we share knowledge and resources to help one another grow our wealth together. And we discuss the SPACs and stocks that we're all invested in. And I share early research into companies that I'm becoming very convicted in before I share it with everyone else on YouTube. So if you're interested in all of that, I hope to see you over at patreon.boacademy.org. I'm Lincoln with boacademy.org. Thank you again and have a great day.